I found out my girlfriend is homeless. Original post recovered with Redditor on April 17, 2021. Saw my girlfriend standing outside of a homeless shelter in a food line. We've been dating for a couple months and I want to offer her to stay at my apartment, but I don't want to completely dominate the power balance in our relationship or make her feel like she owes me. Yesterday morning, I went to go out for a walk around the city and noticed a girl that looked familiar standing in a line at a homeless shelter. I took a double glance and saw a hoodie that was mine and then recognized my girlfriend, Kat. I was pretty shocked by seeing her there, but didn't approach her because I didn't want to embarrass her or anything. So for background info, I met Kat in February at a Dunkin's. I started making small talk with her when I saw we were both wearing the same Dodgers hat. I offered to pay for her drink after shooting the shit for a minute in line and got to know her when she asked if I wanted to sit down with her. As we were finishing up our drink, I asked her out on a date and she accepted. As the last couple of months went by, things were going great with us. I learned that she was working 2 jobs, wanted to go to college, was a devout Catholic. She invited me to attend Mass. I'm not Catholic, but went out of respect. Yet I noticed that she never brought up her family except when she mentioned her dad, who was a Marine that passed away when she was a kid. Fast forward to the present, and I ended up sending a good morning text inside the Dunkin's as I was looking to see if it was really her. Like clockwork, she pulled out her phone and told me that she was at her apartment and that she was cooking breakfast. It was really surprising for me because I always dropped her off at a nice apartment building whenever a date was over, but I guess she did that to give off the appearance that she wasn't homeless. Now, I want to talk to Kat about her situation. She's kind of a social introvert, to put it lightly. If she truly is homeless, I want to offer Kat to stay at my place. The only problem is that I don't want to come off like she owes me or anything like that. I also want to respect her Catholic faith because she told me that she wants to wait to give up her virginity after I originally invited her over to my place before I knew she was homeless. The Catholics aren't fond of unmarried cohabitation either. Thoughts on how I can navigate this? Edit. I forgot to mention that Kat has an older sedan. I know that I'm making a lot of assumptions, but I'm guessing that she lives inside her car because she doesn't carry a backpack around her all the time and she wears a nice dress and flats when she goes to Mass. The other clothing she wears is sorta just casual. Think your typical Converse, skinny jeans, and overcoat, nothing too fancy or too dingy. Update April 17, 2021. So for starters, I wanted to thank the people on the sub for hitting me up with some good advice on both sides. I ended up meeting Kat at the local park we usually walk through after she got off work earlier today since it's out in the open, yet still private enough to have a serious conversation. I told Kat that I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable or ashamed, but that I saw her at a line at a homeless shelter yesterday and wanted to talk to her if there was anything up or if she needed help. Kat immediately began to cry and showed her nervous tics, fidgeting around, wrinkling her nose, etc. She began stuttering on her words and I consoled her until she began to gather herself again. I told Kat that she didn't have to feel like she had to hide anything from me, and she began to open up about everything. Kat told me that she had been homeless for over a year. She grew up in a broken home after her dad passed away in Iraq when she was a kid back in 2006. Her mother fell into alcoholism and had pretty much blown whatever savings she had from the death gratuity she received and basically lived paycheck to paycheck. Despite this, her faith with the church was the only real thing that gave her stability and hope to carry on with her daily life. At 18, she joined the Marines because she wanted to honor her father and escape the life she had grown up with. Although she ended up getting ILST, entry-level separation, and was chaptered out of the USMC due to her developing asthma while in basic. She ended up moving to our current city on the East Coast because she didn't want to return to California where her mother was. Kat ended up barely scraping by to where she saved up to buy her older car to sleep in away from the shelters around December of last year. Kat ended up sharing to me that she was on the verge of suicide around the time I met her and wanted to play up like she didn't have baggage and elaborated on how she didn't want to scare me off by admitting she was homeless. So she had me drop her off at the one apartment building and split the tab of our dates to appear like everything was normal. Truthfully, I felt gutted hearing her story. I had a feeling that things were probably bad for her, but I didn't think it was that bad. Kat showed me her DD-214. I'm currently NE5 in the Army Reserve, so I knew that her story was verifiable, as well as the pictures she had of her past. I told her that I wanted to help her out in any way and that I was open to having her move to my place, with the added kicker that we could go to AITA to get her a bed set to make my living room into her living space. Since I wanted to respect her physical boundaries that was in place from her Catholic faith. Kat was very hesitant because of her pride and she didn't want to come off like she was accepting a handout due to pity. But I reassured her that it wasn't with a handout or come with a catch. I told Kat that I loved her first time I said that, and wanted to help her feel secure. She looked at me with a sort of disbelief and asked me if I really meant it. And I did. Kat reciprocated by saying that she loved me too and accepted. As far as the conditions go, I told her to meet me at 30% of the rent and to put whatever money she had into starting summer classes at the local community college, and that she could stay with me for as long as she wanted if she felt comfortable with premarital cohabitation. Alas, thanks for the advice on everything. Our convo was a long one and took a lot emotionally from Kat, so she is currently crashing at my couch until she wakes up so we can get her bed at IKEA later tonight. Once again, thank you for giving advice, as it really allowed me to vent on what was going on.
Am I the asshole for not wanting to make dinner every night? Original post on March 8, 2023. I am 40, had jaw surgery in November, and have had my jaw wired shut ever since. I'm mostly surviving on inshore blenderized soups, smoothies, and baby food. It's been tough. During this time, I have continued to make my child's breakfast every morning, make his lunch for school, do the grocery shopping, and make dinner most nights. Honestly, it's torture. My husband, 40, works full-time and doesn't really feel like cooking when he gets home. I get it, but at the same time, making dinner every night and having to watch and smell it cook when I know I can't eat it is awful. And I know there are lots of ways to blend proper meals, but by the time I add enough broth, juice, etc. to make it drinkable, it's disgusting. The other night, I asked if he could make dinner at least a few nights a week, and he got pretty offended. He said that since I'm not working, I'm on medical leave, it's nice to come home to dinner being ready and not having to rush to start it. Last night, I thought I could compromise and get all of the ingredients prepared and ready so he could just do the actual cooking, and he was pretty ticked off all night. Am I being unreasonable? AITA for not wanting to cook every night. Update on April 27, 2023. I posted maybe 2 months ago about difficulties with not wanting to make dinner every night while my jaw was wired shut for an extended period after jaw surgery. Original post linked above. I think the most heartwarming and unexpected all of the soup and recipe suggestions that were shared, which were super helpful. I decided to go for a mix of petty revenge and adult behavior and made us all a dinner of soup and homemade bread the night I made the post. My husband and son loved it and we were all happy to be sitting down to a meal together as a family. But then I made soup and biscuits with salad the next night. Once we were cleaning up, I again brought up my frustration and talked about how difficult it has been for me, and asked again if we could compromise going forward. I used many of your suggestions about batch cooking, meal prep, etc., and asked if there were days that he feels more stressed coming home. There was a lovely user who asked if this behavior seemed out of character for him, and it is, and turns out she was pretty spot on. There has been some things happening at work that have been pretty stressful, and he hasn't wanted to talk about it. So coming home and making dinner has just been one more thing to deal with. We were able to come up with a system that worked great, where he handles cooking on the weekends, and also one day through the week. But we work together one day to make freezer meals, so I just throw them in the oven so they're ready when he gets home on days where I don't feel like I can handle the smells. Thankfully, I had my second surgery earlier than planned, and while I'm still dealing with side effects, I'll be eating normal food with my family soon.
Am I the asshole for storming out a restaurant and putting some friends in an awkward position? Original post on April 23, 2023. I need to start off by saying that I, 19 years old, have mild autism and I was homeschooled. I have trouble navigating social situations, though I think I've gotten better since coming to college, which makes me think I might be in the wrong here. Since coming to college, I got a group of friends and it's been fun, except they insist that I'm in love with our new friend Mark. He joined our group about a month ago. Me and Mark have a lot of things in common, so we bonded quickly. Because of that, our other friends said that we are in love and made for each other. It was a good laugh until they kept repeating it. They kept making claims that made it sound like I had feelings for him, and it got super weird. For instance, one day we were hanging out in Mark's dorm and I left when an emergency came up. In my rush, I left my charger. It got returned to me, but the others claimed I left it on purpose so I could leave a piece of me with him. Another time, I was eating spaghetti and some of them said I was practicing to eat Mark's ass. Comments like this occur about 6 or 7 times a day. I have no idea where it's coming from. I'm not even gay. A week ago, I asked Mark if he was as uncomfortable with it as I am. He didn't know they said those things because they never said it to him. It's only been to me. Why? I sent a message to our group chat. Guys, the comments you make about me and Mark are really making me uncomfortable, especially since I found out they've only been directed at me. Please stop. I don't find them funny or amusing. They apologized and said they wouldn't do it again. Friday, 6 of us, excluding Mark, went to dinner together. While we were waiting to order, Jada, 19F, asked if I wanted to date Mark. I told her no and to drop that stuff since it makes me uncomfortable. She asked why I was so uncomfortable if it's not true. I told her that's exactly why. It's not true, but they keep talking like it is. She said it is true and she knows it's true. I could feel myself getting angry and didn't want to melt down, so I just left. Walked out and drove back to my dorm. I texted the group chat that I did not wish to be around Jada given what happened. Jada got mad and said I was letting a guy ruin our friendship, and I didn't know how to take a joke. I've ignored her messages and calls. All of our friends side with me, but a few of them said it was putting them in an awkward position and I should let it go. I already stated that I'm not the best with social interactions, so I'm thinking maybe I am the asshole.